To prove it.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we seek a motion to approve the agenda, we're going to add one thing that was inadvertently omitted. It's just a support letter that Operation Threshold sent to us on 3 different programs that are currently in the funding crisis. One of them was the Heating Assistance Program. And so we will discuss that when we get to that. Other than that, I would request as amended.
I'll make a motion for an approval to the agenda, amended agenda here.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Yeah, motion to approve the minutes of April 21st, 2025 regular meeting.
So, good.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approve employee claims filed with the county auditor for 2,282.02.
So moved.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, approve the hiring of Doug Derr, part-time seasonal roadside department, $19 per hour, effective May 5th. And you want to say anything, Sharon?
No, I'm just happy he's returning.
Okay,
So I'm happy to have good help.
and this would be his second year back with you. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Yep. It's perfect.
Do I need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Well, thank you.
thanks. Good
Are
seeing
you
you.
gonna leave us already?
Yeah, I know.
They got your oil change now. Next items for discussion, place on file the following manure management plans. The AJPA LLC Buffalo Township, Schedule Section 30. Wapsi Swinehaus LLC Perry Township, Section 6. Mark Zieser, Cono Township, Section 30.
I'll make the motion to put them on file.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Set date for public hearing for our budget amendment.
Okay, Anne has been working with department heads regarding any budget amendments on line items that may be needed. And as of right now, as far as expenditures, we need to amend for, excuse me, $477,159. However, on the revenue side, due to additional grants and some very large donation that conservation received, we are amending the revenue side for $628,725. So I would like to set the budget hearing for May 19th at 9:15. That'll give me time to get this out for the required publication, and then we'll get it out on the website of what's happening.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for May 19th at 9:15.
Get a second on that.
No, I got a lot of questions about this. There's a lot of expenses in here that I haven't seen any justification for, so,
Well, they're all, those expenses that all come through, they come through every 2 weeks on the claims.
and like to see that against the budget and see where we sit.
Did you not?
I'm not understanding your question.
We've got a motion on the floor. I'm gonna second it and we'll vote and then we can have discussion on it.
Usually you have the discussion before the vote, right?
Yeah, it's the public hearing that we're approving, is what we're doing, but if you want to have your discussion, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen enough information on what we're carrying over on our balance to adjust, additional expenses on the budget.
Well, this really has nothing to do with the carryover balance. By Iowa code, if the expenditures or the revenues are exceeding that function,
Absolutely.
I have to make the amendment. And that's what this is doing.
Yeah, I'd like to see those numbers. Let's see.
So I just have a really stupid question.
Can I-
So you're gonna turn down $628,000
No, I
on the revenue side
never
because,
said that. Why would I turn that down?
because you're, when you make the amendment, you make it on the revenue side plus on the expenditure side,
Absolutely.
expenditure side.
I'm not saying that we're not gonna do it. I'd like to see more information on it before we put this in public.
What?
hearing.
Just exactly what information are you looking for?
I'd like to see what we've spent on the entire budget, every office, every department. I'd like
I
to see.
can
all-
give that to you any day of the week.
Okay,
You get it on your monthly reports. You see the pages of bills that you approve every 2 weeks. I guess I'm not sure what else you would like.
yeah, I'd like to see how that balances out with what we've actually budgeted for, what you folks have actually budgeted for. If there's something that can be found in the budget that they don't necessarily need those expenditures, let's reallocate those expenditures rather than putting the additional expenses onto the budget.
The reason the expenses are going on as an amendment is because it will put them over budget.
Okay,
If
I'd like
we-
to see them.
I'll come up with something. I mean, I've given you the spreadsheets, I've given you the reports. I'm having a hard time understanding the exact detail that you're looking for because everything that's been expended, you've already seen.
I'd like to see how that actually matches up with their greater budgets. So I would like to see
Have you taken a look at your budget worksheets that you have?
the ones that I have, yes, but I haven't
Correct.
seen the departmental ones. And that's why I.
Those budget worksheets are, every single one of them is by department.
Uh-huh. The greater number, absolutely. It's the expenses versus revenues of that department, but not the individual line items. I would like to see the individual line.
Where's your budget? Can I see your budget book? Do you have that?
Sure, absolutely.
Can I see it right now?
Update. These are 3 months old reports, right?
No,
Okay, are they 2 months old?
because when did we approve the budget? 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago? April 7th,
When Ann reran all of them for us.
Okay,
right there.
and so at that point, we had $13 million left to spend for this fiscal year. Roughly, we spent 1.1 last year. Right, so that's still over $11 million at that point. Why do we need to add 400 some odd $1,000?
Because they have specific line items that are over budget. So we have to go in and adjust those line items.
Fair enough. Are there other line items that are
I
under?
am not pulling any other money out. This is something that is required for us to do and
Absolutely.
report it to the Department of Management.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't understand what else you want. I
I'd like
don't.
to see if there's other expenses in the county budget that haven't been expended. Can we move money from somewhere else rather than raising our budget?
We're technically not raising our budget. And when we went through and when the departments went through and re-estimated everything,
477 and 159 dollars, right?
correct,
Okay, so that's an increase in expenditures.
you're absolutely right.
Okay. So we are increasing our budget and expenditures.
No, you're not. Because
We
you're getting
we are,
600,000
on paper, absolutely right.
We
We
are
are,
also getting additional credits. I agree.
So, but some of those credits, Keith, you gotta understand, when somebody gets a grant, that money was not necessarily planned for, so now they're going to expend that grant over here because they have to, because
That's
it's
not what I'm
brought
saying.
in for a specific reason.
I agree.
Okay,
I'm trying to cut back on that 477, 159. Is there somewhere else in the budget
so
that we
then
can
we
take
have.
that from?
we still have to amend that
I agree.
specific
Absolutely.
line item.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem is, and I understand it is hard to grasp all of this and understand it.
An increase in expenditures?
It's governmental accounting.
That's pretty.
May
that's pretty
may I
easy to
finish,
understand.
please?
Okay.
You are not understanding the whole process of why we have to do this.
I do understand that we have to adjust those items that are overexpended.
Okay,
Okay? I'm not saying that.
then what are you saying? So you want me to go through 100 pages of budget
You
and
don't have to.
say-
You're the auditor. You have that discretion. I'm willing to do it.
no, you're not touching the financial. I can tell you that right.
Why not? Are we supervisors? And you're.
Because that is my job.
Okay,
I present the information to you.
so you handle the funding. You handle.
That is by Iowa code. Unless you want to change Iowa code or you think you're above that, then that's your decision.
So you control the budget.
That's not what I said.
Okay,
I control the financials.
okay.
I present the information to you. You guys are in charge of the budget.
Again, I would like to see a line by line item for the entire county before we decide to add additional expenditures to the budget.
I will run those budget reports that you received right before April 7th.
That'd be great.
They're gonna tell you pretty much about the same thing, except for those few, the expenditures that happened last April.
Okay.
And we're gonna waste how much paper doing this?
Your papers.
Those budget reports will reflect the requested budget
Also reflect the re-estimated,
reestimate.
correct? It will not show this amendment that we're doing because the amendment is not finalized and it won't be until.
Can't do it until.
Yes, yep. Once the amendment is approved or disapproved, or whatever you guys decide, then we will go into the financial software and do the corrections or the updates. But those budget reports, when you guys go through them, those also have the re-estimated where some departments have taken down line items.
Good. That's what I'd like to see. Thank you.
If you're not gonna get the information that you're asking for. Because the amendment is not on the financial software yet. So those amended numbers are not there, so there's no comparison, that's what you're after.
I'm looking to see if there's something else in the budget that can be cut rather than adding additional expenses.
We got 2 weeks to go through it and she gets to.
Sounds great.
Maybe you need to actually take a course on governmental accounting. Sorry, don't mean to be rude.
We still have a motion on the floor. Need a second. Hearing. I gather silence from you. I'm gonna second it. All in favor?
Nay.
Okay. Transportation reauthorization support letter. This is something that, we've been asked to sign on to funding. It's for prioritizing safety and innovation, for the Go Rail funding. Improving safety partnerships, restoring the highway trust fund. We've all talked about all the importance of that for our secondary roads and highways. Rejecting economic re-regulation and supporting competitive grant programs. The letter that we will be sending to our representatives to have them support the different priorities. And I think it's really critical. So many of these large projects are either on hold or have been axed. And we all realize how important some of them are. So adding support, I think, is something that would be a major step for Buchanan County. And with that, I just need a motion for me to sign that as a chair.
I'll make the motion to present it as a chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Second one will is a similar problem. We've been asked by Operation Threshold for a support letter to send to our congresspeople in Washington. And there's 3 programs that are currently on hold or threatened under the current cutback on financing. One of them that is extremely important is the Light Heat program, which offers heating and assistance to our low-income people. That's the most critical one that I see. They also have a problem with CSBG funding, community action agencies. And this is all in support of our community action agencies such as Operation Threshold that deal with people that are threatened through economics and hardships and underprivileged. And I would ask that we approve this letter. It would be going to Senator Grassley, Senator Ernst, Congressman Feenstra, Congresswoman Marionette Miller Meeks, Congresswoman Ashley Henson, and Congressman Zach Dunn.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we get to hear from Katie. Katie Hund from Cedar Rock.
Katie, manage Cedar Rock, as most of you know. So I'm an employee of the DNR, but we have a support group called the Friends of Cedar Rock, of which Patty Reisinger and Al Vanderhart are directors of the Friends of Cedar Rock. Al works with us on grants. Patty's our secretary and has worked on grants with us in the past. So the Friends of Cedar Rock have been a really great supportive organization for the park. They help to raise funds, collect donations for education, preservation, and restoration at the park, specifically on the Frank Lloyd Wright design structures. So they've been really instrumental in helping us obtain grants in the past to do restoration work on the boathouse that's there. They've done smaller projects throughout the park, and then they help us with educational programming and different things as well. And then in large scale to help promote the park and the property to kind of the national and international levels. So they've done things like create the book on Cedar Rock that we recently put out. I'll leave one with you. I don't know if you all have one. I think a couple of you might, but this got a couple of awards from the state of Iowa and then nationally as well, but it's got a lot of historical information on the property and photographs. So if you want some more information on the property, you're welcome to have this. And they do different things to promote and manage and care for the sites. So the state of Iowa manages the park. We get additional funding for specific projects at the park through the Friends of Cedar Rock and through the Walter Charitable Trust, which is a trust fund that was established by the homeowners at around the time of their passing in the 80s. So initially that fully funded the park until about 2009. And at that point, that's when the Friends of Cedar Rock really came into play. And they offer additional funding for specific projects at the park. So right now they are raising funds for restoration to the retaining wall at the house. And I supplied you guys with some documents that have some images of the retaining wall. Kind of a poster, some of the work that needs repairs at the house here. So we're estimating this project to be around $350,000. So this project will largely be funded by the Friends of Cedar Rock and then funds from the Walter Charitable Trust. So to make their dollars go a little further, they're working on applying for some grants for that project, one of which is from our REAP program that's specific to the historic structures, so the HRDP program. And they are looking for a letter of support from the supervisors to support them in their mission to obtain hopefully $50,000 from that funding for this project. So that's what I submitted for you. If you have any questions, you have the budget for the project as well. I submitted that. So it's kind of a joint effort through the DNR, the Friends of Cedar Rock, and the Walter Charitable Trust for this project. But letters of support help demonstrate that the project is sustainable, the Friends are sustainable, and that we all are very happy with this resource in our community because it brings visitors to Buchanan County.
Well, I would echo that Cannon County is really blessed having that located so close to independence and for our residents that can use it. Unfortunately, it's not open year round, but it is in the best months of the year, so that's awesome.
The most hospitable, yes.
Yeah, and for anyone who's never toured the Walker House, it's really interesting to see it, and it's amazing. And Frank Lloyd Wright has been celebrated all across the world, actually, for being such an innovative architect, so we appreciate, you guys are doing. With that, I would, ask them for a motion to approve us signing on for their grant.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Katie.
thanks, Katie.
It's really fun.
Okay. Next, review the carpet boards for the Juvenile Court Office and the Assessor's Office. We explored this last year
He stayed at the same place, so.
and Don followed up, thanks, everybody. John followed up with the contractors and they are gonna honor last year's quote. And we just need to get it scheduled. There are some challenges to it that we need to move furniture for them to place the carpet. So we may be reaching out to some of our strong young folks that work here at the courthouse to assist us in that.
Yes.
Cause the old guy ain't doing it.
Well, and another thing too, if you know, I don't know, maybe there's some high school kids that maybe need something for community service. But then again, that would propose a liability if they dropped a desk on their toe.
Yeah.
Or, you know, maybe even hiring some 18-year-olds or someone. I know, like when they did, when Office Town did my office, he had a crew that came in and he paid them and they hauled everything out and basically that was just their job. So that's another option possibly to look into.
That would be in addition to our quote that we have.
Mhm.
I was thinking maybe, you know, using their guys from IT, GIS. They all work for us, so,
Literally all volunteer for this as well.
and, I'm sure the guys in the auditor's office would be willing to, or not auditors, assessor's
I was
office.
gonna say, how big do you think these muscles are?
Really girls, they're farm girls, you know. But I think we can, round up people. I don't think legally we can bring them over from the jail to help out, but
That would be a question for the sheriff. I know in the past, the law always was if they were in there serving a minimus, then they could get out for a work release. And I don't know if he has anybody in there serving a minimus, so.
that's something we can get to. But, I would like a motion to approve the quotes and go ahead and get this scheduled. I'm sure they have to order the materials.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Another thing, just kind of keep me updated as that goes along and then I can block the assembly room. So if they're on the assessor's office can work in the assembly room and same thing when they start juvenile court, then Ben can move down there.
I know, I don't think juvenile court would take very long to do that office. That's a pretty small office, but the assessor's office would be more challenging, I'm sure. Yeah, we'll keep you abreast of the.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we'll move to public comment. Anyone have anything?
I have a question.
Sure, Bob.
Dugan's Avenue South, Brandon, from the county bridge. You drive on that, you aim for the potholes, so that way you can maybe find a little bit, it is terrible. One thing, if we're too busy, and because on the west side, there's a string of rock, can I take my shovel and fill those holes myself, or because Brian always talks about how busy we are, but it's terrible.
They've been restricted by the weather. In fact, I just got a notice that the road graders are out this morning finally again. So it sounds like they're back to work out there, but
And that road is almost clean of rock.
Okay.
There's not hardly any gravel.
I'll pass the note along.
I'm sure that's not due to awaiting asphalt or anything. And I know they're in relation to the maintenance on the gravels. This is the time of year that they do a lot of windrowing and reshaping the crown and the edges and everything else. And I guess I just ask people to be patient, so they give them time to get back there and then spread that gravel back out again. But it takes a few days for that to dry out to where they can actually move the material. And I've had a few phone calls at home, people concerned about it, that it appears excessively high and dangerous, but there's a reason for that. And I don't know, Keith, you were out with Brian, I think, too, and did some travels and looked at it.
Yeah, it was just, we got caught in the rain and everything else. So they had expected that everything would dry out about that point. Like you said, the grass needs to dry out so it's not clumping up and spreading the rock in disproportionate amounts. But all this rain we've had, it's really kind of.
The problem was the windrows on the side didn't act as a dike and it holds water, it just makes a mess.
Secondary ditching, exactly.
Timing is everything with Mother Nature, and unfortunately, we didn't do very well in timing. I know the farmers are welcome. I think we had between 4 and 5 inches of rain over the last several days. Let it soak in and move on now.
I just texted Brian,
Okay, there you go.
so.
Would it be illegal for somebody, a citizen, to
I would discourage you from it.
liability wise?
Yes.
So there's a permit to work on the right of way, basically, that you would apply to, and then if you were to cause damages, then, they would come after you for damages and all those conversations, but greatly discouraged, of course.
I admire the offer, but I would refrain.
Because I did weed eat the road coming into Brandon from the east and the Freeman corner, because and Brian did finally get somebody out there, but we couldn't see, and there's a lot of semi-travel comes off 380 and turns at that corner. So I went ahead and weed eated that last year up to the post box, but
Was there a site distance issue or?
oh yes, definitely.
Okay, which
Yeah,
one was that?
Well, it's down now, but it's Freeman Avenue coming north towards Brandon, and then what is that road that goes into the main drag of Brandon? It's that corner.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the gentleman that has the post office box doesn't weed eat around there, but it's potentially, because there's a lot of semis turning, and you basically try to get into if you're turning left, you get as far as right as possible, because if those semis have to turn and you're way out there, I don't want my bumper taken off. And it's not safe. But the weeds are down right now, so.
We don't have to worry about it till the weeds come up.
Yeah.
And I'm a doer, I'm not a sitter and watch if something needs to be done, so.
Yeah, we'll look into that line of sight issue too. So appreciate the comment there.
Anything else? Good of the cause. If not, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.